I'm a New Yorker myself. I don't know if there's any other, are there any other New Yorkers here? Right there. The important thing is I'm not from New York City, because most of you folks, when you think of New York, you think of New York City. And people don't realize that there's a whole western part of New York, a very rural, that's where I'm from. I'm from the rural western part of New York. I'm 200 miles from New York City, and people don't even know I exist. I was working recently in Iowa, and I meet this guy. He goes, "Where are you from?" I'm from New York. And he goes, "Oh," he goes, "New York." He goes, "I know all about New York. Have you ever been up in the Empire State Building?" That's presumptuous. I'm in Iowa. I don't assume this is your tractor. And then he asked me what presumptuous meant. My hometown is Hornell, New York. Hornell, it's with an H, Hornell, Hornell, New York, a small town just on the outskirts of a Walmart. Because I'm a real American. Real Americans, we live close to Walmarts, right? 24-hour Walmarts if we're lucky. Because we're Americans, and sometimes we wake up and we need stuff. Right? We sit up in our beds, oh gosh, woo, I'm going to need a garden hose. Is anyone like me? Sometimes when I shop at one of these stores, I don't know what I need until I'm in the store. Because I don't shop like my parents. My parents were very frugal people. They had gone through the Great Depression. When my parents went shopping, they always had a list, and they only bought what was on their list. See, when I go shopping, I don't have a list. When I go shopping, I have an hour. I just grab a cart. Let's see what happens. Next thing, I'm in the checkout line. I look in my cart. It's like coming to out of an alcoholic blackout. I don't know what I was thinking of. I always got stuff I don't need. I got like a nursing bra and a canoe. And then this is when I will often abandon my shopping cart. And I'm not alone, because they're all over the store. Do not judge me. They're all over the store, half full carts. They should all have little plaques. This is where a shopper came to his senses. And some of those carts have been out there for a while. Look at stuff from other seasons. It's the middle of May. They got a cart with a bunch of Halloween masks in it. It's the most successful retail business in America in a quarter century. I figured out why it's so successful. I think it's because they always had a greeter at the front door. That's good marketing. Now think about it. They got a guy at the front door whose job it is to just be nice to you. And this may not be important to you people, but look at me. How many doors do you think I walk through where someone's happy to see me? I'm a middle-aged, divorced American male. For most of the world, I'm now considered the enemy. But I go into a Walmart, one guy, he's just tickled pink. He is. I don't actually live in town. I live outside of town, out in the woods, got a couple hundred acres of woodland, upon which I built a log cabin from a kit. I don't know if you know that. That's how you build a log cabin. The days of chopping down your own trees and just holding them together with beaver dung are over. If you want a log cabin, now where would you go for a log cabin? Where would you go for a log cabin?
Walmart.
No, you don't go to Walmart. If you're a writer, you're not very smart. Think! I went to Costco. There's a store. Man! Walk through the front door of a Costco, can't see the far wall because it curves over the horizon. Tell you how big it is. Tell you how big this store is. You ever seen an airplane hangar? You know, giant buildings where they construct enormous airplanes? You could buy those on aisle 7. Nah, I'm just kidding. I actually got it on the internet. Went to logcabin.com. That's where you buy this. I bought the James Garfield. It's a basic 2-bedroom, 1-bath with a mudroom. And I put it on a credit card. It's true. And they delivered my house unassembled in a giant cardboard box. And then it took me a week just to get the parts to my house out of the box. I was so tired, I started living in the box. But I painted it because I'm not white trash. And I use solar heating. Now, I don't know about you folks. I'm very environmentally conscious. I think Al Gore's a nut job, but I'm very environmentally conscious. I use solar heating. If you don't know how solar heating works, it's like a greenhouse. You know, if you put plates of glass in your roof, the sunlight will come through and warm the air of your house. Now, it's true. It's called passive solar heating. I wanted to turn the heat up 1 year, so what I did, I replaced one of the plates of glass with a 7.5-foot industrial magnifying glass. One minor problem, what we call in the local inventing club a glitch. You must stay out of my living room at 2:30. I have what appears to be a laser beam. Comes in next to the coffee table. Got a laser beam in my living room. I used to have a dog. Old Curious Chester. Chester was one of those dogs. You know the kind of dog, they see something and then they jump on it and play with it? You know, like they'll see a dust ball or a sock. Sometimes a 50,000-degree spot of light. He must have played with that spot next to the coffee table for almost a second. Only time I ever heard him say, I think some of you folks are taking this a little too seriously. For the record, no animals were hurt in the creation of this stupid little joke. People say to me, Ross, how do you come up with your jokes? Because most people are used to, frankly, most people are used to a more traditional form of jokes, the setup punchline kind of a joke. I'll give you a good example of a setup punchline joke. But a setup is a piece of information that goes along in a linear fashion. And then there's a twist on the end. That's the setup and the punchline. Here's a good example. I've been married twice. I was widowed by my first wife. Okay. I was divorced by my second wife. Or as I sometimes say, my first wife died, and then my second wife wouldn't. Okay. You get it? Setup and then a punchline. Now, I've been doing this. I've been working for 35 years, and I got to tell you, sometimes I get creatively bored. So what I will do is to challenge myself, I will create my material backwards. I will write the punchline first, and then I'll try and figure out a story to get to the punchline. And that's how I came up with that stupid little joke about the dog bursting into flames. Because of that sound effect, the sound of the dog bursting. I've been making that sound since I was a little boy. Because I grew up back in Hornell, New York, small town, grew up in the 1960s, and we used to do something back then. Now, they don't do this anymore. They don't do this anymore. But we used to do something back then. They haven't done this for years. After school, we used to go outside and play. They haven't done it for years. And what we would all do is we would play Army. Our fathers had all been in World War II, and so we used to pretend we were our fathers, storming the beaches at Normandy, and that was my sound for guns and bombs. Little boys, they always love to make sounds like guns. I see an awful lot of women here. Little boys, they love making sounds like guns and bombs. After school, we'd be in the backyard. I almost passed out on that one. I'm getting too old for this. You ever do that? You hold your breath and push too hard, things get sparkly. Don't get up, by the way, I'm fine. What a compassionate group. Yeah. He's having a stroke. What should I do? I wouldn't touch him, I'll tell you that. Send the photographer over. Take a picture. We'll put it on the internet. We'll use it to sell next year's conference. That's what we'll do. Oh, the writers are so good, the comedian died. No, he didn't. It wasn't a laugher died. He actually died. It's my age. I'm at that age. All men, by the way, get to this age.
Don't look at me.
You're just about there. You're there. Now, what age am I talking about? I'm at the age I'm starting to make noises when I don't want to make noises. I do any kind of work around the house. I make two noises. I make one noise when I do the work, and then I make another noise about a second later. And it sounds like I'm thinking about the work that I just did. I'll show you, you'll get it. Watch. Ah! Everybody get it? Everybody get it? That's my life. Everything, I move a lamp on my house, a little floor lamp. I sit down, I come home at the end of the day, I sit in my chair at the end of the day. I make noises doing almost nothing. Adjusting the thermostat. Those little boxes on the wall. All winter long, you'll hear me in the thermostat. My father used to make the same noise when he would adjust the thermostat in our house. My father, you'd hear all winter long, he'd be at the thermostat. He'd look over at me. Let me go back to the thermostat. I think he thought I was somehow hooked up to the thermostat. And if he got the temperature right, I would become the son he wanted. Well, my father was a retired Marine Corps lieutenant colonel. A nice, mellow guy. I have to understand, I come from a military family. My father was in World War II. Like I said, my grandfather was in World War I. So I enlisted in the Army out of high school, 1973. I just missed going to Vietnam. But I was in time for our country's war on drugs. Technically, I fought for the other side. For the record, I'm clean and sober 26 years. Just for the record, no drugs or alcohol for 26 years. I actually stopped drinking in the early 1980s when discos were popular. Discos helped people of my generation stop drinking because many of them would have carpeting on the floor, and for sound insulation, they would put the same carpeting on the wall. And think about it, carpeting on the walls of a bar. How can you tell when you're falling down permanently? My father's generation was called the greatest generation. Tom Brokaw coined that term about 25 years ago in reference to the World War II generation. And they were great at winning World War II. When you think about it, they literally saved the world. But it doesn't mean they were great at everything else. They were human beings. They were flawed. Let's be honest, the skills they needed to crush fascism don't necessarily transfer to raising a little boy. For instance, combat reflexes, which are necessary in battle, are unnecessary at dinner. It's dinner. Drop a potato, pick it up. Don't jump on it and tell the kids to run. Give you an idea of my father's reflexes. I once spilled a glass of milk at dinner, and my dad yelled at me before the milk hit the table. The milk was literally arcing in the air. And like a drill instructor, he was out of his chair in my face. What do you think you're doing there, bonehead? Bonehead, you failed your class of milk. I've had it with you, boy. I got my eye on you, boy. Drop down and give me 10 push-ups. I said, get out of that high chair. Baby, you're acting like a honey. He's acting like a baby again. By the way, I've got a son. I have been married twice, and I don't know if I want to be married again. I sometimes think I'd like to be engaged one more time. I'd like to be engaged to the famous pop star Beyonce. Because I'm a comedian, I just think it'd be fun to introduce her to all my friends. This is my fiance. Beyonce! Hey, no! My son and I, we communicate much better than my father and I do. When my son turned 17, we signed what was called at the time, it was called a SAD contract. It was an acronym. It was SADD, Students Against Driving Drunk. And here was the deal. If he was to take the car, go any place, have anything to drink, he made a promise to not get in the car, but to call me on the phone. And apparently, according to the contract we had signed, I was going to be more than happy to get out of bed at 3:30 in the morning, go out and drag his little drunken butt back home. Well, what the heck? I was going to Walmart anyway. I'm just glad he trusted me, because anybody who's a parent, you know that what you really want is you just want your children to trust you enough. So if there's a problem, they will come to you with their problem. I got to be honest, I don't think I could have ever called my father up drunk when I was 17. I do not see that phone call. Oh, Dad, I need you to come pick me up, because even if I was sober, I couldn't get the car out of the pool. I would hang up the phone and wait for the arrival of Mr. Understanding. And how long would I wait? With his reflexes, I wouldn't get the phone halfway to the hook before I saw him fishtailing around a corner in a classic American automobile. Some of you may remember this car. The Ford Country Squire station wagon, LTD, Lunatics Transportation Device. Cream-colored tan trim with artificial wood paneling. Because in the 1960s, when I grew up, nothing showed good taste in America more than fake wood. What was that? It was on the sides of our cars, on the walls of our basement rec room. And here we are, think about it, here we are, 50 years later, we still have fake wood. By the way, how are we doing here? I get to come back tomorrow night. So, And so this is sort of like the longest intermission in the world. You've been a wonderful audience tonight. All good things must come to an end. Every comedian you see, you'll notice we always have one piece of material that we save for the end of our shows. And we call it our big finish. And it's meant to bring you to an extra level of applause and laughter. Now, a little bad news. I already bid my big finish. I have some jokes left. They're older jokes. Do you mind if I close with an older joke from when I first started performing? Is it okay with you? Can you believe this whole Watergate thing? My father comes to visit me at the log cabin. He's standing in my living room. He looks around the living room. He goes, I give up. He goes, I give up. Boy, where's your thermostat? Huh? You build a house with no thermostat. I said, Dad, I told you I have solar heating, and with solar heating, there's no thermostat. He said, solar heating, no thermostat. How does that work? And I said, why don't you have a chair over here by the coffee table? I'll explain it at 2:30. You've been a wonderful audience. Thank you all very much. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night. Good night.